This conference will now be recorded.
Sajad, you there?
Yes, I am here. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, yes. I got confused. You can
Yeah, it's
edit the
my
name.
name is Asman there. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you can edit the name. Sure. Hey, Grace.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing good, thank you. How are you?
Not too bad. Thanks for asking.
Not too bad. Okay. Hope the answer is good soon.
Sorry.
Hope the response is, doing great soon.
Yes, yeah. It's been a long start of the week, but yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, great. Sure. mm Let's get started, maybe. Kathy,
Yes,
you
sir.
there? Can you hear us? Oh, fine. I don't see any response. Okay, let me just start sharing my screen. Let me know once you're able to see.
Hi,
Yes.
can you hear me
Hey,
now?
Kathy. Yes.
Okay.
How are you? Long time,
Good.
and did you get a chance to go through the recordings last week?
I did first three lectures. After that, I didn't get any lectures.
No, there were only three, I guess. Yeah. Okay, cool. Now let's continue. Now I think we stopped here. Work breakdown structure. Right?
I
We
don't think
Yeah.
I left it there.
Oh, is it okay? So you did
But
not
we
go through
can
this
cover
record.
up on Saturday or somewhere the other day. You can.
Uh, uh, Others, Sajad and others, have you got this recording? Work breakdown structure one.
Yeah, I received the recording. I haven't looked at it, but I did receive an email for the recording. I saw the email.
Okay. Can you give that link? Can you just confirm and give that link in the chat window so that Kathy can also go through it?
Okay.
Yeah, you can do that while we get started. So work
I
breakdown
have
structure.
Yeah.
two recording copies, 8/3/2022 and 8/10/2022. After that, I don't have anything.
Oh, that was long back. 8/3, 8/10. That is
Yes.
long back, right?
Yeah.
No, we had
After
last
that, I
week.
didn't get any lectures.
Is it? Can you
So
drop
I'm
a note to the
missing, I
team?
think, 2, 3 or something like lecture.
Yeah. Can you drop a note to the team to share the recordings? I can also do it from my end.
I will contact
Uh,
one person which I have the number.
yeah.
I would find the recording and I would
Yeah,
send
sure,
it
sure.
to
Okay.
her.
You can put it in this chat window when you find, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Okay, I've also dropped a note from my side to the team. Cool. So we stopped at work breakdown structure. Did we do this project schedule and timelines? No, right?
No, not that I know of. No.
Okay. Maybe Grace or Sajad. Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I was.
good.
Uh, yes, I think this started that. That's what we did.
Sorry, come again.
what was your question?
The question is, did we start this? Did we complete this project schedule and timelines? This particular slide.
I think we
I
started,
don't
but
think so.
we didn't complete it.
Okay, okay, fine.
Yes.
Okay, okay. Maybe work breakdown structure is the last thing. So next we'll
Hmm.
focus on time. How as a project manager, what should you? What are the things that you need to keep in mind when you're okay, thinking about time of the budget. Okay, let's discuss on that.
These are
Where
two recordings from 18 and 19.
18 and
Okay.
19. Okay, excellent.
So
Yeah,
last
you can.
week you had 2 lectures.
Was it 2 or 3? I'm not able to recollect. Sajad, was it
It
2?
was 3.
And there is one on, and then there's one on 11. I have a recording for 10, 11, and then 18 and 19.
Oh, so can you send me the recording for 11 as well? Because I didn't get it.
Okay, I'll send
You just drop here, I will save it.
that. Sure.
Okay, excellent. Give me 1 minute. Yeah, now let's start focusing on the time part of it. Okay, let's start focusing on time part of it. Now, sorry, was there something?
I didn't say anything.
Okay, fine. Okay, now, yeah, project schedule and timeline. What are the factors that you have to keep in mind when you're thinking about project schedule and timelines? Is the main focus here. So, first one, estimate the duration of each task. Now, where did this task come from? The task came from the work breakdown structure. You would have had tasks here, right? As part of work breakdown structure, the end goal is you need to have tasks. Now, you take those tasks into consideration, estimate the duration for each of the tasks. Okay, that's the first step. And then make sure for each task you're adding buffers. How much buffer? At least 20% buffer. You never know what might go wrong or what's misinterpreted, right? So make sure you had buffer. 20% buffer is a standard that is followed. You can stick to same, or if you feel that your team is not mature enough and the team is new, you can have the 25-30% of buffer also. Okay, that's the uh, that's the second step. You add buffers, and then you sequence the tasks, meaning what task has to be done first, and then following which task has to be done, you know which task has dependency on which task, and based on that you can sequence it. We'll learn it in detail. What's where is that? Yeah, the sequencing comes here, critical path method. We'll come to that, but you know you have to and sequence the tasks. Once you sequence the task, you assign the start date and end date for each of the tasks or activity, right? So thing is, have all the tasks, estimate all the tasks, add buffer to each of the tasks, then sequence it, then assign the start date and end dates. These are the 4 steps that are involved in project scheduling and or coming up with timelines. Any questions here?
Good.
Nope, we're good.
Okay, okay, fine. So we'll move on. Next one. Now, estimate durations. What are the planning pitfalls that we have? We'll try to understand that. So, so you might be very optimistic about your project, or you may be very biased because you might have worked on similar project. So I know it's good to be positive, but then even though you are positive, uh, you have to take into consideration all the negative scenarios also while doing estimation, right? So focusing on the positive future scenarios and missing to consider the not so good ones. If the negative scenarios are forgotten during planning, this will come as a surprise during execution, right? So you have to think about the negative scenarios also. What if what is the what if step A doesn't go well? What if step B doesn't happen? What if a new feature comes in? What if the technology compatibility fails? So those negative things also you need to consider while doing the estimation of durations or time estimation when you're doing, right? So during planning, this will come as a surprise during execution. Planning is done for future events. So we need to limit our own biases. We never know how the future will be. Maybe tomorrow your developers might leave. Maybe tomorrow your key dev lead or any leader itself might leave. So there will be a lot of unknowns. So you need to plan for all those unknowns. So illusion of control, being overconfident that you can control the future events is just an illusion, and you need to be realistic and plan for those things. So you should not be overconfident on it. Okay, there's a yeah more of a Gyan kind of a slide. Any questions here? Okay,
No
we'll move on.
questions?
Okay,
Yep.
we'll move on. Sure. Now, estimate durations. How do you come up with the estimate? Considering, okay, I need to be positive also. I need to think positive. I need to take positive scenarios into consideration. I need to take normal case into consideration, and also I need to take pessimistic case into consideration. All the three, right? Now, then how do you come up with estimates? So this is a formula that you can use. Define three scenario points: optimistic case, normal case, pessimistic case, and then you apply the 3-point estimate formula to identify the estimate. Okay, 3-point estimate formula to identify the estimate. Now let me open an Excel sheet for this. Just bear with me for a minute, it's coming up. Now, okay, assume you have registration functionality, assume you have login functionality, assume you have payments. Okay, these are few. I'm just taking an example. Now, for registration, the for optimistic case estimation is in terms of hours, I will say 100 hours. Normal is maybe 120. Pessimistic maybe 150. Login, I'll say normal would be 60. No, sorry, optimistic would be 60. Normal would be 75. And pessimistic can be 100. Payments maybe 80, 110, 140, something like this. Now, what I'll do is, so this is optimistic normal pessimistic case, right? So keeping these things in mind, you can derive the actual estimate. Obviously you cannot show like, look, this is my normal estimate, this is my pessimistic estimate, this is my optimistic estimate. Management will thrash us. I don't want all this to see all these things. Give me one estimate is what they will say, right? For that, you have to come up with one estimate for which you use this formula. That is equal to, what is the optimistic one here? 100 or okay, plus then 4 into normal. I'll take 120. Okay, then plus pessimistic case divided by 6 is something we need to do. Divided by 6. Now this would be your estimate. This would be your estimate. Similarly, for login, this would be the estimate. Payments, this would be the estimate. So register, you can round it off to 122 maybe 122, and this can be, yeah, maybe 75, 77, whatever it is, and this can be 110. Now this is your estimates. So you're considering all the things here: optimistic, normal, pessimistic cases, and then coming up with the number. So this can be number of hours. So you say it is 122 hours, 77 hours, and 110 hours. This is the estimate for these features. And if you add this, then that would be your, maybe, if you are considering this is the overall project, then that would be around 310. The overall estimate. But estimation wise, overall project estimation wise, we'll speak more. I'll show more charts. But at the task level, this is how you need to do. At the task level or feature level, this is how you need to do. Any questions here? Any of you any questions here? Is it clear? Was I fast?
I think it's good right now.
No, you're fine.
Okay, Kathy.
I'm too.
Okay, fine. Then we'll move on. Next is buffers. As I was saying earlier, we need to have buffers. We need to have buffers for the task because we don't know how things might turn up. So the amount of buffer to be added is strictly dependent on the specific case at hand, and you need to manage on ad hoc basis. So what are the couple of factors that determine in having buffer? So level of uncertainty. If the level of uncertainty is very high, then you should have more buffer, right? If the requirements are not clear, then you should have more buffer. Criticality of the task. Criticality of the task. Yeah, again, how critical it is. So if it is critical, very critical, and you see the value there, then you should have high buffer. Else low buffer. Owner of the task. Is the experienced person working on it, or is a fresher working on it, or do you have a good track record of the developer who has picked it up? So based on that, again, you can go with high buffer or low buffer. So basically, when the task is uncertain, like it can be doing it for the first time, more critical compared to the rest of the owners of the task is less experienced, a bigger buffer should be used, right? These are three factors that you need to keep in mind, right? So these are the factors. Now when it comes to positioning of buffer, at what stage, for at how should we calculate budget? So one thing is you can have, you know one, you can have buffer for each task. That would be, I say, best thing to do. For each task you can have a buffer, or you can have buffer on group of tasks. Like, okay, for task A, task B, these are relevant. I'll have one buffer. Then for task C, I'll have one buffer. You can do this. This is on grouping of tasks, and maybe you can have buffer for the overall project. Is it project itself? Like, if you say my project needs 100 days to be completed, then you will have a buffer of around 20 days and say 120 days. So this is how you can position the buffer, right? So avoid avoid big buffers on single tasks. Don't have big buffers on single tasks, okay? And avoid putting the whole buffer on one place at the end of the project. This one, avoid this situation. Avoid this situation, okay? Aim to use buffers after group of tasks and avoid labeling them as buffer. Don't tell it as buffer, right? You don't ever mention it as buffer. You can use words like validations, checkpoints, and other things, but not as buffer. The moment the management sees the term buffer, the management will start questioning, why do you need buffer, right? So instead of mentioning it as buffer, you mention it as validations, checkpoints, or reviews, anything like that. Okay. So this is on positioning of buffers and overall buffers. Any questions here? Anybody, any questions?
No.
No?
Good.
Okay. Grace? Grace, are you there? Grace, can you hear me? Grace, maybe you're speaking on mute. Okay, fine. Not sure if Grace is here. We'll move on. Yeah. Now, dependencies. What are the type of dependencies that we'll have? You can still see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay. What are the kind of dependencies that you can have? So you can have dependencies like logical dependencies, resource dependencies, external dependencies, or soft dependencies. Okay. So what are each of these things? So anyone heard of these things earlier? No? Okay, fine. So first of all, imagine you are building a house. You need to put the walls up from your walls up before you paint them. Correct. So painting the walls is dependent on walls being built itself. And projects, the just like a real life, don't happen in a vacuum and have their own set of project dependencies and constraints, irrespective of the industry. Funding an isolated project activity or task is kind of impossible, as projects are you know mostly interconnected, and no many management or managers consider identifying and handling dependencies in a project management as one of the most important and consequential tasks. Okay. Now, what are project dependencies? What are project dependencies? What is couple of things here in terms of logical dependencies, resource dependencies. We'll try to understand it. So, logical dependencies. All these are also known as a kind of casual dependencies, where these dependencies are an inherent part of the project. These are part of the project and cannot be avoided. You have to deal with it. You have to deal with it. Task characterized as logical dependency usually use the output of the preceding task as input. So you can't run them in parallel, right? Like for example, without completing registration module, you cannot do the login module. It is dependent. User has to be registered to login, correct? Such kind of dependencies. Those are logical dependencies, right? So, or consider baking a cake as a project. You can't start the process unless you have all the ingredients you need, right? That's a logical dependency again. So yeah, logic-based correlations and more for physical dependency. Okay, that is logical. Next is when it comes to other things like resource dependency. Like this dependency originates from a project constraint as it deals with the availability of shared resource or hiring of resources and things. If two tasks require the same resource, if the tasks require the same resource for completion, then they'll be dependent on completion of the other, right? That kind of creates a logical dependency. If one single person has to do two jobs, that creates a logical dependency. And then we have the external dependencies. So what are external dependencies? Now, no matter how much you plan, there are things bound to be out of your control. There will be things that will be out of your control. Some tasks are dependent on outside factors, and project managers, you can't do anything to influence their project process. To deal with these dependencies, it's kind of recommended to have a backup plan. Okay, so delays from the suppliers or any unforeseen circumstances may take place, which can affect your progress. And as a good project manager, you always make some contingency plans. That is a plan B. So everything keeps running smoothly, even in the even if there is an adversity. Okay, this is a external dependencies, regulation, seasonality, and a lot of other things come into picture. Okay, now finally we have something called as soft dependencies, like where you can take calls here. You as a project manager, you can take calls and solve it instead of taking it to the management or anyone. And it can be subjective also. Subjective dependencies in terms of debates within the team and things. So that again can be handled. So these are the kind of dependencies that is there. Apart from this, there are one or two more dependencies which are nothing but cross team dependencies or uh, yeah, cross team dependencies is one, and preferential dependencies is the other one. So cross team dependency is nothing but, as the name says, there's a common occurrence in big organizations where sometimes multiple teams work on single complex project, and they rely on each other to complete the project on time, right? That's cross team dependencies. Now when it comes to, yeah, these are the kind of dependencies that's there. Any questions on dependencies?
No.
Okay, Sajad,
Good.
Grace, any questions? Grace, can you
Good.
confirm if you're there?
She is writing in the comments that she has no questions.
Oh, okay, I did not see that. Fine, no questions. Cool. Yeah, sorry, Sajad, you are adding something?
No, I'm good.
Okay, fine.
You hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, sorry,
Oh,
I was having a sip of
just
water.
making sure.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's move on. Okay, next is critical path method. Now, what is this critical path method? So basically, we want to see what task has to be done first, or what can be done next, and things, right? So, on the basis of the available information, excuse me, on the basis of the available information, like tasks, duration, dependencies, and other things, we create a network diagram. We create a network diagram with boxes and arrows. Okay, and this is also called as PERT chart. Now, the idea here is to identify the longest path from start to the finish. Okay, the longest path to the start to finish. So, critical path is the longest chain of dependent activities in the project. Like, okay, login. Let me take that Excel here. Okay, login is dependent on registration. Payments is dependent on login, and then maybe order confirmation might be delivered dependent on payment, and order delivery might be dependent on confirmation, and like this there will be dependencies, right? So we'll try to figure out what is the longest chain of dependent activities in the project, right? How is it beneficial? This helps us to indicate the fastest possible way to complete the whole project. This helps us to indicate the fastest possible way to complete the whole project. Now how is it? Let's see it. So critical path method. How to perform the critical path method? Use all the information that's available. Activity list, durations, dependencies, right? And then build the network diagram. Sorry, was there a question? Was there a question?
No.
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 Okay. Now, once you have all these things, build the network diagram by drawing the boxes with task name, duration, and arrows to indicate dependencies. Okay. Now, for this, first you need to have the activity list. I'm sure I hope you guys went through the templates that I shared, right? So, if not, let me bring it up. Where is the activity list? Yeah. Assume this is the activity list. This is for this is for building of showroom. You need to prepare land for construction work, evacuate the foundations. Not meaning lay the foundations, build foundation structure, build showroom spaces, complete roof works, install doors and windows. All these things. These are the assume these are the list of activities that you have. Okay, so this is the further breakdown. Actually, this is further breakdown. This is more of a short. For now, this should be enough. This is more detailed breakdown of sub activities that are involved. Okay. Now assume these are the activities. Okay. Now keeping this in mind, and knowing the dependencies, you will try to figure out. Okay. Now, how much time does this activity A take, and how much time does activity B take? Right. Only after A is done, B can be started, and once B is done, you can do three things parallelly. You can go either way, this way, you know, this way, or this way. So things can
Or
be
maybe all three
going.
start simultaneously, right?
Sorry, all three.
Yeah, after B, you can start all three of them. Is that also a possibility?
Yes, you can. Yeah, there might be a few parallel works that can be done, right? Like for example, when
Okay.
payments and other things are done, you can always build other features like sorting and filtering, or settings and these things. Those are independent ones, correct? So you can do it.
Hmm.
Yeah. So parallel activities will be going on. So these things can go in parallel. Now what I want to do is what I will do to find the critical path is see the longest path. See the longest path. Okay, this is 3 weeks, 7 weeks, 10 weeks, 12 weeks, 12 weeks to complete in this case. Here 3, 7, 9. This is 9. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is the longest path. So we say this is the duration needed to complete the project. 12 weeks or whatever it is. 12 weeks is the time duration needed to complete the project. Okay,
Mhm.
is it making sense? So just calculate the longest chain of dependent tasks. That is the critical path. As simple as that. Make sense? The most important part is you need to know what activities can go in parallel. If nothing can go in parallel, then it would be like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and 1 week, 2 weeks, 3. So overall, it can be like 20 to 25 weeks also. Only if you can do things in parallel, this is how it works. If everything is sequential with very less resources, then it will take longer time. Make sense?
Okay.
Any questions here? Kathy, any questions?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Grace, any questions? Grace has exited. Hey, Grace, are you there? Grace, any questions? You can type in the chat window also.
Okay. She says she's back.
Okay. Fine. Not sure if you were there in the past few minutes or not. I got dropped for a
Can
minute.
you read
Okay.
the chat?
Yeah. I got dropped for a minute is what she says, right? Okay, fine. Okay, sure. We'll move on. Next is coming up with the Gantt chart itself. Gantt chart, okay? Which is very critical and most popular chart, or popular term, which project managers speak, right? How do you come up with Gantt chart? Now, simple. You need you have the activity list. We just have showed that. Have it on the y-axis. Have your activity list in the y-axis. On the x-axis, have the calendar. On the x-axis, have the calendar, and see. Take this critical path. Take this critical path and see. Okay, task A takes 1 week. Takes 1 week. Okay, you mark it 1 week. Task B takes 2 weeks. 2 weeks. So you keep on going. Like wherever it happens parallelly, it would be like this. See, there are two things happening, three things, in fact four things happening parallelly here. You are installing bathrooms, you are building the roof, you are recruiting personnel, and you are also delivering cars. Many things are happening in parallel. So yeah, that is what it says here. Using critical path, you'll also figure out what are the parallel tasks that can happen, right? And yeah, so you have the timeline on the x-axis and tasks on the y-axis, and you can chart on the timeline by referring to the critical path. This is how Gantt chart look. Now I will also open the Excel sheet that was there. Okay, so yeah, so to the left, of this one. Now to the left, there is the y-axis. The activities are listed, right? So you can always take this from the activity list or work breakdown structure. And on the x-axis, calendar is inserted. You can do say uh, you know, easily in a project or a Excel. Okay, a calendar is inserted. It can be with days, weeks, or months, whatever you want to put it as. Weeks would be appropriate actually, depending on what you find most convenient for the work you are planning. And
Oh, okay, so you're saying that right now it shows some week to week, but you can change it
yes,
to 10 days or a month, however you want to see. But can you do like
that
a part of it show a week and a part of it show a month, and then again come back to a week? Can you do that?
no that doesn't make sense, right? Why do you want to do that? I think you
It's just
cannot do it.
when I'm where like I'm in my designing, we do the scope and
Uh-huh,
then we order parts. So the scope is like a 5 day process. So we do the whole
uh-huh,
work, but there are like steps that the SE
uh-huh,
get like I don't know, like 4 different departments touch it in 5 days. So we can schedule it out, and then we order
uh-huh,
parts. So some parts come in 2 months, some parts come in 7 months, and the
uh-huh,
main circuit breaker come in 18 months. So if
uh-huh,
we show that on the chart, 18 months would be too long. So the first we only have a week for scoping, and then we have a month for designing part in the middle somewhere when we order the parts, and then the building is in 3 months. So
mm.
if we show the 18 months, there would be a big line in the middle. Can we squeeze? I was just curious,
Yeah, so
can we
the
do it
thing is,
different?
yeah, in this case, you can have the smallest unit, be it a day or a week, right? You can have a smallest unit, but mixing and matching these things will mess up the chart itself, and I
Mess
think
of the
it's
chart.
not
Okay.
possible also. It will mess up the chart, and it's
Okay.
not
Then yeah,
possible
then we
also
have to
for it.
do this one scope for a week rather than dividing
Yes,
it
yes,
that when each department get it and
yeah,
they realize what. Okay.
yeah.
Well, just something came
You
up.
can
Right
use.
now, I'm analyzing it for what I am working on right now,
I
and
understand.
we
I
do have
understand.
a whole project manager department,
Uh-huh.
and they are doing
Okay,
all that.
okay, okay. Sure, sure. I understand. Okay, cool. Yeah, stick to days or weeks or basically the smallest unit. Smallest unit. Okay,
Okay.
fine. So the tool is a bar chart where you have horizontal where each bar is limited by the start and end date. Start and end date of a specific activity. The length of the bar represents the duration of the activity. In this case, this indicates 2 weeks duration. This indicates 1 week duration. This indicates 2 weeks duration. Yeah, it indicates the duration of the activity, and all the activities are listed on the side, as I told earlier, right? And yeah, and calendar days displayed and things. With this graph, it is very easy to represent the activities and get a good feel about the duration and when is each one to be executed. Visually, when you're able to see it, oh, okay, this activity is done, planned in November, is it? Okay, fine. So anybody can understand this. That's the point, right? This can be used for monitoring. Monitoring meaning, if you want to later check the status, okay, by this date, you should have completed this. We have not done it. So for monitoring, you can use it. But it's also extremely helpful during the planning phase. So strongly suggest to you to use it when forming the project schedule. This is very important one. Use it during the project schedule. Okay. Any questions?
No, the one we are working on right now, however, we have the same thing, but it's interlinked with the AutoCAD
Mhm,
P4S software. So when we do the designing of 3D model, we can put the same timeline,
mhm,
and you can move the cursor, and it will show
mhm,
you how much station is built by now. So
mhm.
to make sure it is built. So like if you are in 6 months in, you can move to 6 months and it tell you what your station should look like right now.
Okay.
Time
Okay.
integrated.
Mm. Sure. Yeah. Similar ones. Okay. Cool. Uh, That's great. Good to hear. Thank you. Thanks for sharing on your current thing. Any other points that any of you have?
No, I don't.
Okay. So Grace says no questions for now. Sure then. Okay. Let's move on. Yeah. Now, how to come up with a comprehensive project plan, keeping whatever we have discussed in mind. Activity list we have, right? We have the activity list, we have the durations, we have the durations, we have the critical path, we have the dates. Keeping these four things in mind, we can always come up with a comprehensive, detailed plan. How? No, let me show you the Excel project plan. Where is it? Yeah, this one. I'm just trying to open this. Give me a minute. Yeah, see, there you can come up with a plan. You have the detailed task list, right? You have the detailed task list, and what are the things with that? Task or activity list, durations. You have the duration that is required, right? Mentioned here, and then what else? Critical path. Critical path meaning this one, procedures. When which can be done, right? When what can be done, you have it, and then you have the dates. You also have the dates mentioned here, right? So with this, you can have a detailed, comprehensive plan. Okay. Any questions here?
No.
If you see here, like this electric, no, the electric wiring, communication fibers, all these things, they can go in parallel. Everything is starting on Feb 19th, Feb 20th. So these are all using the critical path you can identify, and these are all the durations. So this is how you come up with a comprehensive plan, keeping these four things in mind: activity list, durations, critical path, and dates. Make sense? You can make use of this template, or it's very simple, right? You can always create it in Excel, even though it is in PDF here. Okay. Any questions? Sajad, any questions or anything you
Good.
want to
No.
add? No. Okay. Kathy, no questions. Grace. Okay, I'm assuming no questions. Fine. So next is about cost. Okay, so we'll pause here. We spoke about time. Cost wise, we'll speak tomorrow. Fine. We'll continue tomorrow on cost.
Okay.
With this, we'll close the
Yes.
class for today. We'll continue
Raji, I'll
tomorrow.
go through the lectures, but when you have time, please give me 1 hour so we can go through that lecture on the scope part.
Sure, sure. We can do it over the weekend.
Because, yeah, because it's like, most important for the PM, that scope part, which I mentioned.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We will do it over the weekend. Go through the lectures, and
Yes, I
we
will.
can have a call. We can have a call
Yeah,
to
it won't be a
clarify
long.
this.
I will, if I
Sure.
have some questions, I can clarify before we start
Absolutely.
moving.
Absolutely. We'll do that. We'll do that. Okay then.
Thank you.
Sure, sure. Thank you. Thanks all. Have a good night.
Thank
Take
you.
care. Bye.
Good night. Bye.
Good
Bye.
night. Bye.